Hey everyone, it's Nicole Saratak with American Frontline Nurses. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Ask the Nurses podcast. And today I really want to take the time to introduce you to a good friend of mine whose name is Stacy Ograyensek. She is a registered nurse and her husband was actually killed by hospital protocols. And to add to the injury and to the insult of the death of her husband, she was plastered all over sorryantivaxxer.com, which mocks people who died from the deadly hospital protocols, claiming it was because they didn't get the jab, when we all know it was ventilators and remdesivir. So I want to talk a little bit about her journey and how she's fighting back and what you can do to help. So let's bring Stacy on.
Hi, thanks for having me. Want to clarify one thing though, is I am not actually a registered nurse.
Oh,
I might have had my story with someone else that was on a podcast with me before. So I did have somebody with me on another podcast a while back who was a nurse. So that's probably where that came from.
Okay, yeah.
I don't like needles. I don't do good with needles.
You were smart enough never to go into this profession.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what is going on for you and your fight with this hospital for killing your husband.
So yeah, my husband, I have been fighting for him for a little over 2 years now. We made the mistake of going to Beaumont Hospital in Dearborn when he was feeling a little bit of slight chest tightness. I didn't think he should go to a ER. I thought just do a walk-in clinic because his oxygen was in the 90s. But he was, nervous over it and said, I want to get a jump start on this in case, it turns into something. Let's go ahead and just get a steroid shot, because he knows that's what I would do with the asthma, that if anything got severe, that I would go in, get a steroid shot, put on the antibiotics if needed. So that's what his thought process was. Let me just get on this early. And he knew not to take anything like the hospital protocols that we were hearing about. He was a health and life insurance agent, so he's seen the money payout to give remdesivir, and he didn't like that, thought there was something not quite right about that. And so he knew all that stuff. So I thought, okay, we'll be okay as long as he's informed and knows what not to do. And I mean, his last words to me before he walked into the ER was, I'm an American. I have rights to say no to whatever I don't want. Don't worry. And he kissed his fingers and put it on my forehead and told me it'd be okay. And while that should have been the case, we couldn't have been more wrong. So yeah, he ended up, being given remdesivir against consent. They ended up venting him while he had a 96-98% oxygen level. He had no idea that they were going to do that. I mean, when I had a doctor on the phone with me calling me at home saying, you need to convince your husband to go on a ventilator. And I said, why would I do that? And he says, it'll give his body rest. And we need to get him on the vent. You need to tell him that he needs to do that. I kept saying, no, why would I do that? Doesn't make sense. His oxygen is in the 90s. And
was he physically tired? Was he struggling to breathe to keep it in the 90s?
No, I mean, actually at the time when all that was going on, they were telling him they were going to put him in a step down unit and saying that he was doing much closer to coming home. And so when I was telling my husband that the doctor was trying to convince me to tell him to go on a vent, he was like, you must be hearing him wrong. That don't make no sense. He goes, they're telling me they're going to put me in a step down unit. And he took a picture of his oxygen and sent it to me. And right at the same time when he was doing that, a doctor was on the phone with me saying, ma'am, to be honest with you, we told your husband that we are going to vent him with or without his consent. And all I got out was, that's illegal. And he slammed the phone down on me. And then I got a phone call 2 hours later, because after he slammed the phone down, all communication stopped with my husband. He called me back 2 hours later and said, ma'am, we vented your husband 2 hours ago. And when I had asked him why, he said, well, his oxygen was at 40%. He was turning blue, and he told us to just do it.
Wait, so he went from almost being transitioned down to a lower acuity unit because he was doing better, talking, feeding himself, and oxygen in the 90s. And to all of a sudden, after that phone conversation, he abruptly tanked, went to 40, and was turning blue and needed to be intubated.
Now, that's what he said. And when I asked him what time was this, he gave me a time, and I was looking at my phone and seeing that it did not match with what my husband was sending me. So I thought, okay, the damage is done. Let's just let him document that, and I'll fight it later, you know. And so I thought he was already vented. Well, after everything was done, getting his medical records, no, they had put in his records that they vented him while his oxygen was in the 90s. So,
oh, God, yeah.
He was just telling me what I needed to hear at the moment. Yeah.
That is completely insane.
Yeah. And it haunts me to think that my husband was like fighting for his life in there. The idea, you know, did they give him anything to knock him out completely before doing it? Or was he fully aware and fighting them, you know, while they were trying to vent him? Those kind of things just haunt me, not knowing.
Well, and that's like my concern because, I've intubated people before as a flight nurse, doing, in the ICU. We typically like hit them with Versed to knock them out and then a paralytic. And the Versed runs off like really quickly. So then you're paralyzed conscious while we're doing that until we get the rest of the sedation on board.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. So that is like the concern. I mean, this is not like a person that we actively coded, like we're doing chest compressions. This is a person where it's like, oh, they're tanking, things like that. And I'm just like, holy crap, that's a horrible thing to think about for your loved one.
Oh.
And then, Stacy, it has not been an easy journey for you fighting back against these powers. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing to fight back against these deadly hospital protocols.
I have, first I went on as many media platforms as I could, trying to get Ryan's story out there far and wide. I've done somewhere like over 40 media interviews, several documentaries, been in Bad Medisin, being interviewed for Bad Medisin, way in the beginning, that way when they're first starting that. So they're still in the process of working on that and finishing that up. And then I set up a Facebook page for my husband called Ryan's Fight for Truth. It has over 1,000 followers to it right now. And been very, very vocal. I actually worked with, I got the attention of some attorneys that had taken on my case and fighting this legally. I'm trying to bring justice and accountability because Ryan's case is like very different in that while in the hospital, I found 2 doctors that were willing to break protocol in order to try to save my husband. A doctor had put him on ivermectin while in there, and 76 milligrams of it and a proper dose steroid that he needed, and antibiotics, vitamins, all those things. And in less than 24 hours, his blood oxygen, this is now 5 weeks on a ventilator, but his blood oxygen went from the low to mid 60s to 100% in less than 24 hours. And it was the first time that every day on it, he was coming down off the vent now while holding his own vitals. His vitals are perfect. And the doctor was like, 3 or 4 more days doing this, we'll have him, on the road to recovery, and maybe we can start to get his kidneys back in check because the remdesivir shut down his kidneys like it does for so many. Mm-hmm. And so we were on the right path, and we thought I was finally feeling relaxed that finally a doctor was actually giving Ryan a chance for life and like trying something that ain't gonna hurt him, but what we're doing wasn't helping him. They told me that. I had doctors and nurses tell me prior to finding that doctor that they weren't allowed to give my husband what he needed to get better due to politics controlling the healthcare system, saying that their hands are tied, and if they fought for him, they would lose their jobs. That's what they'd say right to my face, like not even like I was a human being or that was a human being laying next to me. One doctor even told me he had to think of his own livelihood and his own paycheck first, that he wanted to give my husband ivermectin and a proper dose steroid, that he thinks it would help him a lot. But he said, again, due to politics controlling our healthcare system, my hands are tied and I have to think of my livelihood and my paycheck first. And I mean, I was just so floored of hearing that I actually even started to record conversations inside the hospital. So I wore a recording device and I had a hidden camera on me, and got them on tape admitting that they weren't allowed to give him what he needed to get better. And
Wow.
yeah, and ended up even having a doctor fighting for him. The doctor that was fighting for him, that gave him the ivermectin as he was getting better, 2 infectious disease doctors came in and revoked it and forced him off of it and took it away from him, saying that they had to protect their jobs first. Even when they took him off a steroid, it wasn't even just ivermectin. The doctors wouldn't even allow him to be on a proper dose steroid. That was against protocol. So even that, when the doctor just had him on a steroid that was like 9 times the strength of protocol steroid to try to help him, and he was responding better to it. Another doctor came and took it away cold turkey, again, to protect his job. And the doctor said to him, you take Ryan off of this steroid, you're going to kill him. And he shrugged his shoulders and said he had to think of his job first. To which then the doctor told him, like, shouldn't your loyalties be to Ryan and Stacy? Shouldn't your loyalties be to the patient first? And I mean, it was just a battle of good doctor versus bad doctor, our choice of doctors versus who they were going to force upon us. And there was no consent. No one ever told us that they were going to take it away from him. Anything that we went and did, when we put our trust and care into a doctor for his care, anything that was working for Ryan, they intentionally took it away. And so if your intent isn't to try to heal him and get him better, then what is your intent?
Yeah, that's the incredibly frustrating part, is like they were just showing up to punch the clock to make their paycheck. They didn't care about the outcome of the patient.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was a bonus incentive to the number of people who lived, the outcomes would have been a lot different for patients across the country. But there was such an incentive financially to put them on the ventilators and give them remdesivir, that this is why we saw it the way we did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the doctor who fought for him, one of them in there, told me that Ryan was a victim of horrendous medical tyranny, and told me that if Ryan had hid some ivermectin coming into the ER and was allowed a proper dose steroid, that he'd be with me today.
I believe it. We had one gentleman on, he was on the ventilator, something for like over 200 days. I can't remember Rodney's journey, how many days. I'd have to go back and look at my notes. And because he was on the high dose budesonide, he has no long-term scarring. I mean, granted, he had to go through a lot of physical therapy after being on that vent for so long, and occupational therapy, but he has no scarring, no damage whatsoever to his lungs. They cannot tell that he had COVID, and he was on the ventilator for over 200 days.
Wow.
That was just the budesonide after we've got the lawsuit to get the ivermectin. So, I mean, he had been on that ventilator quite some time before, but that budesonide held him through until we got the ivermectin.
And we had Ryan put on budesonide early on when he was in there. We got an infectious disease doctor to agree that it wouldn't hurt him, and that it might benefit him, and what they were doing wasn't helping. And so she agreed to give it to him. And he was on it for a few days, and in those days he was improving and getting better. And then, just like the other time, they took that away as well. It's not protocol. If we do that, we'll lose our jobs. So it wasn't about Ryan's benefit and what was to get him better. Isn't that the standard of care, is to try to save patients' lives? So now we're going to just follow a one-size-fits-all protocol and force it onto a patient and say, you don't have no right to do nothing different? Is that a hospital standard of care? I mean, when did that happen? When did that switch? So when did it become a standard of care is that we're going to force what we want to give you and not be able to take that? We're going to take away what's working, because if we give you what's working, we'll lose our jobs. It's jobs over patient lives.
Yeah, I call it paychecks before patients and profits before patients, and it's just like a losing battle for patients, no matter what. So, Stacy, how are you like? So, what were some of the like? Let's talk about the ramifications because you were viciously attacked by fighting back.
Yeah. Yeah, you always get that anything that's in the media in the spotlight, it leaves room for naysayers. We always had because of the push that our media has done to almost like the science don't ever lie, and doctors are doing all they can. And I mean, I literally watched the difference of that. They're not doing all they can. They told us they weren't allowed to do what they wanted to do. And Ryan was paying a price for that. Ryan was literally sacrificing his life for their livelihood. And then trying to tell that to the outside world that can't picture that. You're always going to be opening yourselves up to negativity, like, oh, that can't be true. And you lie, you're making this up.
You're a fame seeker, crisis actor, you're doing it for money.
You name it. And even though I have footage and I can't release a lot of it because it's going to be used later in court, but I release tidbits to let people know, hey, I did record stuff. This is out there. Like you can see, I did record conversations. There's still always those people like, no, that can't have happened. Or that's just one saying it. No, it was like all of them, but two people saying it. And even the nurses in there, while they were nice as can be, they still were telling me my hands are tied. Basically, your husband's going to have to die for me to keep my job here, and almost like I had to come to terms with that. And so yeah, I've had a lot of negativity. We've had my page hacked where somebody actually made up a fake Ryan's Fight for Truth page to mock mine. So this person puts a lot of time and a lot of effort into it, a lot more than I could ever do. I mean, I couldn't sit and make up stuff all day, even as much as I can't stand the doctors that did this to my husband. I could not imagine making up a fake page and say, hey, the doctor's doing this today or the doctor's doing that today. And just to have them live in my head to that degree. Someone who's never met me, it just has it out for me just to be like, and they've told other people, I just want to make sure that she stops speaking out, that they're doing this to make me stop speaking.
Weird. It's so weird because they just like hyper fixate on you.
Yeah.
I can speak from experience. They just hyper fixated on me. There was just something that they obsessed about me. And I see that they're doing the same thing to you. Like, don't these people have like hobbies? Like you can get a lot of things back in life. You can get money back if you lose it, all sorts of materialistic things, but your time, you can never get that back. You have a finite amount of time in your life, and that's how you want to spend it. Instead of doing beautiful, joyful things that bring you happiness, you'd rather just attack this poor woman whose husband has died and who's trying to fight back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's caused them to go after my business. I've had my business attacked. Where they go after reviews, anything I put money to advertise for my work, they've attacked that, which then has affected my career and my business that I built for 25 years. They've gone after my husband's business that he had set for himself. I've even had to the point now where people have come to my home. I've had my floor mat, my welcome mat to my house lifted, like as if someone's looking for a key. And same night that happened, I had my panic alarm set off on my car like every 15 minutes, trying to almost get me to come outside. And I mean, so it's dangerous. It's a dangerous world that we live in. And I mean, do they want to have this go until someone gets hurt in this? I mean, it's scary. It's scary. People are taking it way too far at this point. So.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that they were willing to show up to your house shows dedication to their psychosis, because we had like similar situations at my home too. And I live 4 hours away from in the middle of nowhere, Nevada. Like they had to drive 4 hours, at least from a major city, to get to me, to come like beat down my door and have to call the police and things like that. I mean, it's just completely insane. like that they just want to target you. And so guys, I want to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about, this targeting by Stacy, because we've been combating a group called sorryantivaxxer.com. And Stacy's husband, Ryan, is featured on there as well. Many of you know about the Tamara Drock case in Florida that we were fighting to help Tamara Drock, and I ended up on sorryantivaxxer.com. So for those of you listening on the podcast, there are links in the show notes to everything I'm showing you now. So when you are hands-free, you can definitely go and check that out. So I want to show you, it's sorryantivaxxer with 2 X's.com. And they post stories about the people that have died, claiming that it was because of the jab. They didn't get the jab. And in actuality, it's because of deadly hospital protocols. And one thing I specifically noticed about who they target is they always target Caucasians, conservatives, or any Republicans. They have not at all featured a Democrat on here at all. And they definitely do not select Black people at all, with the exception of one man who was a Muslim. And they said, well, hopefully he'll get better. You know, the vibe on that page for that man was very positive. And so they specifically are 10 times harder on the women than they are on the men. But as you can see, as you scroll through here, it's always Caucasian, conservative, Republican people. I mean, they didn't care the fact that Tamara Drock was actually vaccinated, because she was a kindergarten teacher and was the first, you know, the teachers and the elderly and the nurses, healthcare professionals were all first in line to get it back when this all rolled out in 2021. And they put her on there and they didn't care. And they even put a Down syndrome girl on here as well. And I hear that her family got that post taken down. They didn't care that they targeted a 19-year-old Down syndrome girl. They didn't care at all. And so I'm going to bring up Ryan's page right here. You guys are featured twice. Ryan Ograyensek, 41, Taylor, Michigan, insurance broker, unvaxxed, dead from COVID, the director's cut. I mean, and I'm sorry, Stacy, if I am reading any comments or anything that could possibly trigger your PTSD or anything like that, please let me know. But I want to let people know exactly why they're targeting you, because they want to silence you from fighting back legally. And so they do updates. I love, this is my favorite update, because it says update 1/11/22. This woman isn't going away. Good for you, Stacy. You are not going away.
No.
Power move to you. Here is an update. See below. So it talks about, you know, everything that you just said, how they're attacking your business. You set up the Facebook group or the Facebook page and stuff like that, updates. And they put some of your interviews and things like that, because once again, they do not want you speaking out. Feel free to add your opinion on this Facebook post when you were talking with Garrett from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Did he win, by the way?
No, sadly, no.
No. Oh, that's unfortunate. Facebook posts, things like that. And this has 125,334 views and 5,797 comments. Almost forgot about this lady, posts one person. Wonder how her mission to get justice, with quotation marks, for her dead spouse is going. Haven't heard of anything at all, even though I live in Michigan. And the comments have been turned off for this. And so it's really interesting to see that they've turned the comments off on things, like they turned the comments off the Tamara Drock post as well. Stuff like that. They do, the people in the comment section are also scrolling and taking Facebook, like screenshots of anything you posted on Facebook. She just posted that she's talked with Candace Owens. Just think, if Ryan hadn't died, she'd still be Little Miss Nobody from Taylor, Michigan. Now she's hobnobbing with all the AV superstars. Ryan would be so proud if he hadn't cost him his life. Just horrible things like this. And every link to everything that you could possibly think of. And it's really interesting to see that, I mean, they cared about you so much that they set up this SoundCloud account, Sorry Anti-Vaxxer by Vaxman, to like, I don't know what these are. Like, so these are like some of your posts that you were keeping everybody informed about, and then they did like an AI voiceover to it.
Oh,
I mean, this takes a lot of effort, folks, like a lot of effort. I don't think this person's employed. We haven't been able to find the identity of quote unquote Vaxman. It does say that he works in like biotech or something like that. He has been sent numerous cease and desist letters from people who have been featured on his website. And ever since the wave has turned with the whole remdesivir hospital protocols, the jab is not effective, it's actually killing people, this site has gone really quiet, but they still refuse to take anything down. They did have a Patreon running there for a while, which I think gained like $5, I don't know, earned $10 and stuff like that. They do have a Twitter account that has not been active since September of, September of 2023. There's not anything there. They've gone dark ultimately. And it makes me wonder why they've gone dark. SorryAntiVaxxer.com is also a very popular site for shots heard around the world. And Team Halo members, they would post about this site all the time. It was in their link tree, things like that. I mean, just imagine healthcare professionals telling people that they want these people to die. It's very deplorable. And so, Stacy, tell us how you're fighting back right now and what we can do to support you and help you.
Well, I am definitely fighting it legally, trying to work with some legal teams to go after not just the hospital and the doctors responsible for destroying me and my husband's life, but also, holding a lot of these people accountable, like, people like you're seeing on these fake pages. I have set up, I know we did have our Give Send Go set up there through the attorneys. I am also doing a charity auction here coming up, and it's yourcharityauction.com/Ryan's Fight. And that we are looking for people to donate items, services, or products that will allow people to do an auction bid on. And the auction will be from August 5th through the 12th. And it'll run from like 6 a.m. to the 12th at 6 p.m. And we will let people bid on items, and that money from that auction will go towards that legal fight. It's time to start holding some people accountable. The judges and courtrooms are making it very difficult on people to pursue this. And they actually just are, I think they're just so scared of the evidence coming forward. And they're trying to do anything they can to deter people from pursuing it. And it's going to take a lot of Christian warriors, a lot of people that are just patriots that know that if we don't stand for something, I mean, we're not standing for anything. We got to take something that has happened to so many people, and the ones who are willing to try to bring this to the forefront and hold them accountable, people like yourself, that medical field workers that are whistleblowers, people that have just been victims of this and that are taking a stand. I mean, we're opening the gate for more people. If our cases go forward and we win, when we win this, that opens the door for others. So we just have to come together as a unit, as Americans, stronger in numbers. We come together, we help each other to push forward, to persevere and win this evil spiritual battle that we are in. As we do, then we can open the door for other people. And that's the end goal in this, is that one, there's accountability, and then two, it opens the door for more people to get justice.
It's like the domino effect. If we can get one successful lawsuit, that can get brought into court against others in other states. It's just the domino effect.
It is.
And folks, American Frontline Nurses and Frontline Defense Supplements, we are donating some supplements and things like that to the charity auction, and the link to Ryan's Fight, the Facebook page, to the charity auction, into the Gifts and Go is going to be down in the notes or attached to this video. So depending upon what platform you're looking at or you're listening to, those links will be available. And I really recommend that you just donate a product, a service, a gift card, or something like that that can be auctioned off to really help with these legal fees. Because just imagine if we can get this snowball going into a giant avalanche of lawsuits. It just takes one to be successful. And we can't do that without being able to fund the attorney fees. And so any last words, Stacy, that you want to leave everybody with before we close?
Yes, important to note, if anyone does donate money to the remdesivir fight, and the one that says remdesivir, stop remdesivir, if they give money to my fight, if they donate money, make sure they note it that it's going to Ryan's Fight in Michigan, just so that they know what kind of case that is going for.
Okay, awesome.
But they can also donate funds through the auction as well if they don't want to donate anything or take part in the auction. They have the option to donate money there as well. So.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Stacy. I'm going to go ahead and take you off the screen, and I'm just going to kind of follow up with the followers. Thank you so much, and we will be praying for you, and hopefully we have people take action.
We need this. That was my best friend, and I was together with him since age 15. So
I saw the pictures. So, all right. Thank you, Stacy, so much.
Thank you.
Now, folks, for those of you listening, you can actually report sorryantivaxxer.com to Wix for violations of harassment and bullying, which is against their code of conduct and terms and services. The link will also be included with this video. And if you can just take some screen grabs of some of those deplorable things that are being said and done on that website and submit it to Wix through that link, we can get it shut down. And as always, we are running a contest for podcast likes and reviews. So at the end of this, head on over to Apple Podcasts or your streaming podcast platform of choice and make sure to give this a 5-star rating. And we will pick one lucky winner every week to receive a $25 gift certificate to Frontline Defense Supplements. And so this week's winner comes from DF Medeiros. Just found this podcast and I'm looking forward to the weekly shows. The one I listened to was informative, interesting, and easy to understand. Thank you so much for that podcast review. And DF Medeiros, if you can submit your podcast review to our website, we would love to send you that gift card. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will see you next week. Let me find the outro. Okay, so we're going to run this for Tuesday, just because I want to get it out there sooner. I'll end up posting episodes out of order, but that's totally fine because I want to get this out in front of everybody as soon as possible.
Sure.
And that link that I sent you to sign up for this. If you scroll down further, it tells you where you can find all of where it's going to be posted and stuff like that. So when it's on social media, you can go like, comment, and engage with the people that are leaving comments, because even though this is a recording, I will go back behind and I will post everything in the comment section, in the show notes, and we'll interact comment-wise to get it going on social media and stuff like that. So then we'll be dropping your link. You can answer questions to people because Facebook's going to be your biggest platform for that because you have the Facebook group page.
Yeah.
So anything else, Stacy, we can do for you?
No, I think that's it. But I'd say the main focus would be that charity auction right now, like that link, just so that we can try to get that as big as possible.
Yes, and I need to fill that out and get everything sent to you. Let me make that a priority.
Aww.
Okay,
And then
perfect.
maybe as the auction comes up, like remind your viewers or something, so that they don't forget about it and say, hey, the auction that was for this event is happening starting tomorrow or whatever. So
Okay, I'll make some social adverts for it, and I'll post it and do like some reels to kind of prompt people and remind them as it goes on, and we can send the link. And I'll do
right.
the charity auction in our link tree for the other like TikTok and stuff like that.
Sounds good. I appreciate that.
All right. I will see you later, Stacy, and I'll be sending you the adverts and everything that's branded for you to post for tomorrow to let everybody know, and the links where they can watch it. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
And take care.